Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Peace, everybody. Sweet Science Boxing Academy. We'll be back with another video. All right, y'all. So let's talk about something in this video because something came to my attention that I don't really hear a whole lot of people talking about. As far as this whole Keyshawn Davis thing that had just happened, and forget the whole incident during Saturday as far as the fights concerned and the fights that happened backstage. We're not even worrying about that. We already understand that him and his brother did some punk stuff and jumped Wu after Wu beat the big brother Kelvin, after Kelvin was talking all that trash during the press conference and weigh-in, saying how he was going to knock out Wu, he's too little and all that stuff, and Wu making him have Bambi legs all night. He getting like Kelvin couldn't get away from that right hand and save his life. I might actually talk about that in another video because that was crazy. Like, and not to take nothing from Wu because that's my guy, but I sparred him a lot. And I ain't sparred him in years, but I still know his style. You can see that right hand coming. But if you know him, you can see that right hand coming from a mile away. But Kelvin couldn't get away from that thing to save his life. But um, forget all that stuff. Let's talk about the weight. Let's talk about Friday, because Keyshawn Davis, he came in at what, 39.3 pounds. The weight limit was 35 pounds. He came in 4.3 pounds over, basically coming in junior welterweight, if you will, and pretty much tried to force Santos to into a corner to fight him or pull out, which Santos and his team called a bluff, and they did pull out because they assumed because Santos didn't fight in 2 years and he was going to get this major payday, getting $500,000, that he needed the money. So they like, all right, well, he ain't gonna pull out. We just gonna, get stripped. We gonna move up anyway after this fight. I'm gonna get this knockout. People ain't really gonna care that I got stripped and everything once I knock him out. That's how boxing works. It's today's is just all about the highlight reels. So if he had a highlight reel of knocking De Los Santos out, which De Los Santos did look scrawny, like he suffered to make the weight, but he did make the weight. He came in at 134. Um, but the whole plan was to knock him out, kind of like what Ryan Garcia did with Devin Haney. Um, but it didn't happen. But why is no one talking about the trainer? Because the trainer know how much you weigh. The trainer know everything. The trainer know if you're taking illegal substance or not. The trainer know if you're running, if you're having sex, if you're doing the things you're supposed to do or not. Like the trainer know everything about the fighter. A good trainer anyway. And Bomac is a great trainer. Like our coach, Fred Jenkins. Anybody know about Fred Jenkins in Philly? ABC Gym, trained David Reed, more recent Brian Jennings, heavyweight, Jesse Hart, um, Rockin' Rodney Moore, uh, 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 Choo Choo Brown. Like it's a lot of names I can name that Fred Jenkins didn't coach. But Fred Jenkins is my coach. Was my coach when I was boxing. I still look at him like a coach. He's my coach, and he knew everything that we was doing. He knew everything that his fighters still do. Even his son, Fred Jenkins Jr., who's now like the head trainer of the gym. Fred Senior is still in there, but Junior is like kind of taking over now. Same thing with him. Coaches know everything. I'm bringing it up because Bomac knew that Keyshawn wasn't going to make weight. I'm sure Bud knew that Keyshawn wasn't going to make weight. They all knew. The brothers knew and everything. They knew the night before, they knew the week before. They knew all that stuff. I told y'all um, the videos I made last night. I forgot which video I put it in, but I was saying like how I don't understand why he couldn't make the weight, because if it was me, I would have trained. I would have did some type of workout behind stage during the weigh-in up until it was time for me to weigh in. He was the main event, so he was last. Y'all see how long the weigh-in process is? It's a long time. He could have lost that 4.3 pounds, at least made it to 140 point something, because at least he got down to like 140, I mean 135 point something. Because if he got to 135.2.7 or maybe 136, then people be like, all right, well, he tried. It wasn't like how it is now. It's like deliberate. Like, you knew that he's sitting there eating popcorn night of the fight. They knew. Bomac knew. Just like how, I don't care what nobody say, Derek James knew that Ryan Garcia was cheating. He tried to be all quiet, act like he ain't know. But like I said, coaches, they know. Coaches, your trainer, 9 times out of 10, they're part of the nutritionist team, even if they're not doing it themselves. They pick out the nutritionists. They're a part of the people who's bringing in other people. Like, no other people comes in and do things to the fighter without the head coach's consent. That's common knowledge. So that's the point I'm saying. Bomac, he knew about Keyshawn Davis, which is, I think, is crazy, because instead of the embarrassment, what they should have did was contact De Los Santos people the night before the fight, or I mean the night before the weigh-in, during a press conference or something, maybe a couple of days before, and said, "Look, we having a hard time making the weight. We may not be able to make the weight. We going to try, but we may not be able to, make it. So we're gonna give you a heads up. So can we, make some type of deal?" The belt probably would have been off, but like he said, he would have been moving up after this fight anyway. So who cares about the belt? Get that belt to Abdullah Mason or somebody, which he probably gonna be fighting for the belt now anyway. But they could have made some type of deal so they're making this embarrassment. He would still been able to fight. I think he would have been. I think he would have beat De Los Santos, especially the way sucked in and dry De Los Santos looked on that scale. I think he would have knocked out, because I think De Los Santos suffered to make weight. I think if he was healthy and all that stuff, it would have been a tough task for Keyshawn. But the way De Los Santos looked, I think Keyshawn would have knocked him out. And none of that stuff with Nair probably wouldn't have happened, um, because at the time of Nair fighting and in the background celebrating, he would have had to still been preparing for his own fight. So although he probably would have been mad and all that stuff, pissed, but he still would have to prepare for his own fight. So he wouldn't have had time to do all that stuff with Nair Albright. So yeah, they knew. And the reason why I'm making this video talking about it, because the coach, they're like the fighter's the head guy, but the coaches is like the head guy. And Bomac should have contacted, or at least sat Keyshawn down and talked to him and was like, "Look, we gonna contact the Santos team and do this X, Y, and Z, and let's do this." And all that stuff could have been avoided. So that's just my thoughts. But let me know what y'all think. Drop your comments down below. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell. See y'all the next one. Peace.